They tell us that weight loss is all about 1,200 calories and constant restriction. But I went from starving and then feasting on sugar, all the snacks, to eating 2,200 calories a day. Yes, you heard that correctly. Over 1,000 additional calories. And here's the thing, I am leaner, I am more toned, and I am finally free from food obsession. And let me tell you that I don't spend hours and hours and hours doing unsustainable, crazy things in the gym either. So I want to share with you today the truth about how my diet evolved, and I want to help you to understand why the old rules that we've all grown up with keep women trapped. Because yes, I am leaner, I am stronger, I am more energized than ever, and that is all without restriction and obsession. And I'm so passionate about this. I'm just so excited to share about this topic with you. So I want to just begin. I have lots of content on this channel about diet, about weight loss, about sustaining a healthy, beautiful weight. And the reason is, it's one of the things that I'm always fascinated by and I love to do. And I know that a lot of you women are too, especially if you are the woman who wants to be her best, look her best, feel her best. Naturally, the world that we live in, pushing all of the calories and the junk foods and the absolute rubbish onto us constantly, means that we need to have this at the front of mind in order to maintain that good, strong, healthy balance and absolutely look amazing too. So that is, you'll find lots of content there, but there's a real clear evolution. If you go back to my earliest videos talking about weight loss and all of that, to now, there have been big changes, even in the course of, I'd say, 6 months or so. And that's because I believe if you're not evolving, you are not making progress. I have always been in a constant state of evolution, and that's the way it's always going to be. So what I'm telling you right now, what I'm sharing with you is really working for me. It's being incredible. It's just knowledge that I'm learning, I'm soaking up, and I feel like I've learned so much, but I feel like there will be more to come inevitably in the future. And that's the way your personal evolution should be. So essentially, how did my diet and how has it evolved? Well, I'm not going to go back into years and years and years ago and how it all started, but essentially I was always brought up with the mindset, it's important to be healthy, but there was, I wouldn't say there was a good sort of technical understanding of why this was. I was never sort of educated on the food industry, why necessarily certain foods weren't good for you, and I feel like that's one area that I really lacked. Also, my parents didn't really teach me about balance. They didn't really help me to understand how important it was to I had a healthy, very healthy upbringing, I would say. But in terms of the sweet treats and stuff, it was almost like it was not a good thing to maybe indulge in certain things. And if you did want certain treats, it'd be like, oh, this is a healthy treat, this is a healthy snack. It's not really healthy. So for me, if something contains like carbs, lots of carbs, if something contains, even in their natural form, sugars and all of that, I'm still not counting that as healthy, right? And you might think this is a bit extreme, and I don't want to go off into a tangent, but essentially what happened then is when I got older and I was able to leave home, I looked at myself, I've mentioned this before, in a few pictures and thought, wait, you could do with gaining a bit of a weight, because I didn't have the curves that my friends did. And I was like, well, how do you do that? Not sensible enough to think, well, we add more healthy fats. No, I was like, okay, I'll just eat more junk. This is great. I'll eat more chocolates, more sweets, all of that. But then what happened? Well, obviously, I then realised, oh, I've actually gained a little bit more weight now. It wasn't a lot, granted. It would have been I don't know, maybe a stone or so, maybe 14 to 20 pounds over the course of a couple of years. But I was not happy in myself then. But the problem is, because I essentially, let's call it fed myself with more sugars and sweet treats and snacks. Well, let me just say I totally let loose. Because I was like, oh, I want to gain weight. This is great. I can do all this. Not realising that actually these, I'm not even going to call them foods. These food-like substances, like the chocolates, the sweets, the treats, all of that, these are designed to hook you. These are designed very strategically to get you hooked on them. So I, at that point, was extremely hooked on these foods. And even today, let me know in the comments if you're somebody who can feel that. Somebody who's like, these foods, they just taste so good. Now, that's the way they're engineered to be. So if you have a problem, if you don't have all systems functioning in your body, then maybe you don't even notice that. But I reckon that the majority of people in this planet, without understanding the background of big food and how these are engineered and why they're engineered like this, if you don't understand that and you're not consciously choosing not to, you probably think these foods, these sweet treats are delicious. And of course they are. So they're very difficult to get out of and to let's just say heal from these types of addictions, because everybody who indulges from time to time will know how difficult it is to actually say no to these foods. So anyway, I basically went on yo-yo diets for many years of my life, tried all the different things, tried running, going into the gym, trying all these various things, trying to lose weight, trying to lose that 10, 15 pounds, whatever it may be, trying, failing, new thing, then a new thing, then a new thing. It's just jumping from the next to the next to the next thing. But when I actually started to really focus my attention, I came to understand that weight loss and fat loss is not necessarily, it doesn't really happen in the gym. I started to do a lot of research and understood that really it was all about diet. And it was all about calories in, calories out. Or so I thought. But I did start to understand, and it's the principle, it's thermogenesis, that's how it actually happened. You must burn more than you consume. It's based on scientific principles, right? And it does in theory work. But I started to hit a wall when I was like, I was restricting, but I didn't feel like I felt that good. I didn't feel like I looked as good as I wanted to, and I could never really still seem to get rid of some of the little annoying bits where you feel like, oh, I just love to lose a tiny bit more fat there. I would like to just tone up a tiny bit. And to most people, they probably thought I was crazy. I look, amazing. But for me, I always want to be my best, and no one else can tell me what that is. And it's not an obsession thing, it's just an interest I have. It's about taking care of myself, and I do care about that. I'm passionate about looking, feeling amazing, and being super healthy because I'm a mama. So what I noticed was that the diet was really affecting me. Many years later, I started thinking, well, maybe it's because I need to go to the gym. Maybe it's just about toning now. But I could never really hit that point where I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like so amazing. I feel like I'm burning that last little bit of fat and all the rest of it. So then I started doing a bit more research and realised that by implementing some lower carbohydrate foods into my diet and replacing the higher carb foods, even the quote unquote healthy ones, I was noticing bigger changes in my diet and my body composition. So even after having a baby recently, and I'm in my late 30s now, and I have a better physique than I ever have had in my 20s or 30s because of the principles I'm going to tell you today. But I essentially stopped eating so many carbs. And at first I was just like, okay, I'll just reduce the portion of carbs. I'll just reduce, and then these weren't really typically on paper bad carbs. These weren't like I'm snacking on in these chips and all of the unhealthy things. It was just like I would have some rice, or I would have some quinoa, or I would have, I don't know, I'm just trying to think, or rye bread, examples like that, porridge. Then I started reducing these and like, what if I just reduced that? What if I just replaced that with something else? And I started noticing that I looked so much better. I felt so much better, and the scale started to really come down lower than they ever had. And that would include my body fat too, because I weigh using one of those body fat scales too. So as I started doing this in the past few months, I began to discover more and more. I love learning about the diets and nutrition. I discovered a little bit more about keto, and I began experimenting with the concept of using fat as fuel and really increasing the amount of protein I had. And what I didn't realize at that point was, before I actually discovered keto and the principles of ketosis, was that I thought that the more protein you ate, the better it was for you, the more muscle you would actually retain in your body, and that your body composition would essentially change, that all that protein you were eating was going to convert into muscle in your body. And that just shows you how much I know. This is a disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. This is just my thought process. And I thought that, but then I realized from researching all of this that in actual fact, your body if your body cannot use, your body, there are two ways that your body can fuel itself. Your body can actually fuel itself only through burning fats or burning sugars. That's how it works. So even if you're actually eating lots of protein and you're getting so much protein in, your body's still going to have to convert that into carbohydrates, or I'm not going to go into all the technical terms, look it up yourself, okay, if you're really that interested. But I didn't realise that excess protein, okay, it might be healthier for you, but it's going to be transferred again into it's not going to be just burned and used by your body, okay? So you really will need to Google this, because I've not got the facts and the figures right. This is not the topic of today's video. I realised essentially that by radically decreasing the amount of carbohydrates I was eating and increasing protein, the scale started to go down. I started to get so much leaner, and it really didn't take any more effort from me. And the whole time I was tracking all of this using my FitnessPal. I have now moved on to using an app called Chronometer. It is an amazing app. I absolutely love it. I don't know why I prefer it, but I do. So I feel it's more technical, and I love as much data as I can get, so I really, really love it. It allows me to look really into all the data with regards to everything I'm eating, vitamins as well, and minerals, and all the things that my FitnessPal doesn't really expand into as much. So that's just a side note for you if you're looking to really look at the data if you're tracking your food like me, because I am obsessed with data, and all the data that I can get on the things that I'm doing to improve my health, I will take it, whatever I can get. So I discovered keto, and I began experimenting and increasing the healthy fats as well as reducing the carbohydrates. However, what I was noticing at the same point was that when I was reducing the carbohydrates, still in the mindset that proteins are actually so good for you, I was just increasing the proteins and not increasing the fat so much. But I began to have some symptoms where, if you think about, is there a nice way to say this? I don't know, let's say frequency of visiting the ladies' room, that type of thing wasn't as easy. So I started to supplement with my diet and take more fibre, because they all say, oh, fibre is amazing, you must have more fibre. And I was taking supplements such as a psyllium husk, which was really good supplement. It did actually work, and drinking lots of water, it's really good. But then I discovered the concept of the carnivore diet. I discovered the concept of eating more of an animal-based diet, of eating more meats. And then I started realizing that in actual fact, so much of the information that we are taught is incorrect. I started understanding that pretty much that food pyramid that we're taught, well, that's one way to be pretty unhealthy. Because what are you supposed to do? I wish I had the image over here. I didn't think I was going to be talking about this. But if you think about the food pyramid, what's on the bottom? Grains, carbs, all the things that they're not that healthy for your body. And I'm telling you my perspective. Okay, so don't go off and say, well, I'm going to give out carbs now. Do your own research. This is just a story about my evolution of my diet. But I actually then was like pretty much taken aback because I heard and I started researching. I started coming across information that actually we could be a lot healthier if we start eliminating particular types of vegetables, and actually even all vegetables can be eliminated in order to properly heal the body. And I was totally blown away by this. I was dumbfounded by this. I'm like, what? Eating veggies is bad for you? Now, take whatever you see online with a pinch of salt, but I started seeing real life proof of many people who had started to eliminate certain food groups from their diet, and they had started to incorporate just simply eating animal products, and seeing the difference in these people in terms of their body composition, in terms of their healing, it blew my mind. And I thought, okay, you're doing quite well here anyway, why not just try it for yourself? At first, the thought of eliminating vegetables for me, it was just like, no, there's no way, because I would like to say I enjoy vegetables, I incorporate them into my diet. It was just, for me, it's a healthy thing. But if you're really interested in learning more about, let's just say, anti-nutrients, if you're interested in learning about ways in which vegetables are not as nutritious as you think, then you can go and do some research on that by yourself. But essentially, there are some anti-nutrients in plants called, there's many different types, like oxalates, like lectins, like phytates, various things that aren't so great for your body, especially if you are somebody who suffers with inflammation in your body. Most of us do. But if you're somebody who's finding it difficult to heal your body or to reduce certain symptoms in your body, if you really want to balance your health and wellness, go and look into these things that I'm talking about today. But I realised that many plants actively stress the body. And when I decided, I made a conscious choice, I'm just going to eliminate these from my diet. See what happens. I'm a fit, healthy person. I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. I did that. I felt clearer. I felt more energized. And I felt just so much better when I went animal-based. Now, do I tell anybody this? No, my husband has an idea of what I'm up to, what I do, what I eat, because he sees the way that I'm preparing. I mean, I don't eat any processed foods at all, whatsoever. I don't eat any carbs at all. Of course, right? Things, milks, cheeses, your meats, everything is going to have a small, tiny, not everything, but many things, most things have a very small percentage of carbohydrates that makes them up. That's just the way it is. But I'm not actively taking foods which are primarily comprised of carbohydrates. And I'm trying to eat as high fat a diet as I can, but what in my opinion are the right types of fats for this diet would be animal fats. And it's very challenging. It can be challenging. I'm trying to increase that all the time in the most natural, healthy way possible. But I'm of the mindset that I want to do things properly. I want to nourish myself properly. So I'm not just like, oh, well, I'll eat the lean meats like the chicken breast and then I'll supplement that with tons of cheese. And a lot of people out there, believe it or not, they're supplementing it with like heavy, which is whole cream in the UK, double cream actually. Some people are doing this carnivore diet. They're having all types of things and they think, oh, well, it's produced by an animal, so it's fine. But me, I'm like, milk. I don't know what it is about that. I do take milk, I take whole organic milk, but just a spot of that in my tea or when I'm cooking. From now and time to time, I do make a recipe which contains the cream, like the heavy cream, the double cream. I use butter in my cooking, all of that. But when it comes to milks, creams, that kind of thing, I just feel personally like I can sense that it's not the best way in the entire world for me to get my calories in. So I'm trying to stick as much as possible to the meats, the fishes, the fish, but really high fat cuts of meat. So things like fillet steaks that I used to eat when I was having steak is not the types of steaks that I'm looking at anymore. It's things like sirloin steaks. Again, I used to eat chicken breast. I'm looking to say, well, how can I get more fats in? It'll be things like chicken thigh now. Various other types of meats. Again, I'm not a huge pork fan, so I don't really eat bacon. I do from time, not when I say from time to time, it's once in a blue moon. But these aren't the types of foods. I just go with my own personal intuition and how I feel about things. So I'm just going more and more, I'd say, high fat beefs. This is where I get most of my nourishment. I feel amazing for it. My skin has cleared up dramatically. I am somebody who was on a plant-based diet a few years ago, and let me tell you, my skin was horrific. I didn't know it was a diet. My skin was bright red, inflamed. I had acne, so bad. My skin was so bad. My skin was dry, it was oily, it was everything. My skin has never been clearer. I'm just telling you my experience of it, okay? And essentially, my results, I used to be stuck in the calories in, calories out trap. 1,200 calories a day, starving, constantly thinking about food. I just thought that I would have to be hungry for the rest of my life, because I was like, well, on paper, I've tracked it for years. Unless I eat this small amount, I can't be lean, thin, have the figure that I want. And it's totally untrue. I just was eating the wrong things. What I did, I started moving from the 1,200 calories a day, being starving all the time, tracking on MyFitnessPal. I slowly basically went through a refeeding process where I would add like 100 calories every week-ish, sometimes more. And I basically raised the intake of calories until I'm now basically up at 2,200 calories a day. And I'm still maintaining and losing weight at a very slight deficit. I'm not going crazy in the gym. I am walking, usually about 13 to 15,000 steps a day. So never really ever any less than 10,000, but I don't push myself to do it. I don't say, if you don't do this, this is terrible, you must do it. No, I'm just like, well, if I don't do it today, that was just a weird day, but I don't think anything more of it. I don't stress my body like that. There's absolutely no more food obsession. That was a huge thing for me before, because when you are if you're in a mode of what is essentially starvation, if your body has been used to surviving on so few calories, it's going to retain every single scrap ounce of fat that it can on your body, because your body might need that in case of an emergency. But now my body understands, oh, she's actually feeding me properly. I'm actually getting some really great nutrition. I can chill a bit. I don't need to store all this. I don't need to hold on to all of this. And because of that, because I'm actually eating properly, I find it so much easier to say no to the sweet treats and the snacks. And listen, I don't classify myself, I want to share that with you as well. I don't classify myself as, I am a carnivore, I am this, I am that. I classify myself as somebody who wants to be very healthy, but my diet is very carnivore. I'd say keto carnivore adjacent, because I do have some avocados from time to time, but like that, I have entirely changed the way I eat, and it's entirely changed the way I feel about food. And when I do allow myself to have the sweet treat or whatever, I don't feel great after it, and I reflect on it and I think about, is it worth doing this again? So for an example, my husband's birthday, I was like, oh, no thank you, I don't want any chocolate. Now that is wild for me to do that. I would look forward to the birthdays and everything because I'd be like, oh, I get to eat chocks, I get to eat cake. Didn't have a slice of birthday cake. Not out of willpower, but just because I see sugar clearly now as totally toxic for your body. Really addictive. So do I really want to take a slice of it? It's gone in a minute or so. And then I feel like I think about it again because it was so delicious, because it's engineered that way. Now, what I'm going to do is, I just noticed that my baby is up. So I'm going to share the second part of this video in the next video, where I'm going to actually share with you some practical tips for your own evolution. I think you're going to love this. If you're somebody who is really looking at slimming down, toning up, and not doing it with the restriction, but I'm going to gloss over that, and I'm going to just finish with this. My evolution wasn't about punishment. It was about feeling myself the way my body was designed to thrive. Now, if you're done starving, if you're done obsessing, and you're finally ready to step into food freedom while you're creating that lean, toned, stunning body that you've been chasing, then it is time to act. You can click the link below to claim your spark activation today. I'm going to pop that link below. And I just want you to remember that your body was designed to thrive on fat. So we need to stop punishing ourselves. Okay, it's not about punishment, it's about fuel. So when you give your body the chance, the weight's going to fall off, the cravings are going to stop, your food freedom is going to begin. Let me know if you felt that in the comments. And again, I'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you in our spark activation. Have an amazing day. You've got this. You're worth this. We can make these changes. It's just about shifting your perspective and your mindset and the information that you're actually taking in to allow you to make these changes. So have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.